Many think results must appear quickly or effort is wasted. They believe progress only matters when visible, but that's not true. Real growth often happens in silence, beneath the surface, before the world notices. Stay constant, stay determined, because unseen effort today builds the visible success of tomorrow. I, Napoleon Hill, have learned that real success is not built on instant results, but on steady effort when nothing seems to change, when one keeps moving without proof, without recognition, without reward. Strength grows in silence. True achievement belongs to those who stay constant and determined until results appear. One, the invisible foundation of greatness. Most people quit because they expect immediate gratification. They plant a seed today and expect fruit tomorrow. They work for a week and wonder why their life hasn't transformed. This is the mentality of the weak. Those who abandon their dreams the moment they don't see instant results. But greatness is built in the dark, in the silence, in the moments when no one is watching and nothing seems to be changing. Think of a tree. For months, a seed lies buried in the soil, seemingly dead, showing no signs of life above ground. Most would assume it's worthless, that nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, an entire root system is developing, strong, deep, expansive. The foundation is being built. When the tree finally breaks through the soil, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens because of months of invisible work, unseen progress, relentless growth happening where no one could observe it. This is how all meaningful achievement works. The results you crave are being built right now, in this very moment, even if you cannot see them every day you show up. Every hour you invest, every small action you take, it's all contributing to something larger than you realize. The mistake most people make is judging their progress by what they can see, rather than trusting the process that's unfolding beneath the surface. Consider the master craftsman who spends years perfecting his skill. Day after day, he practices the same techniques, refines the same movements, studies the same principles. To the outside world, he appears to be making no progress. His work looks the same as it did months ago. But within him, something profound is happening. His hands are developing memory. His eye is training to see imperfections others miss. His mind is building patterns that will one day allow him to create masterpieces effortlessly. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain mediocre is not talent, not luck, not circumstances. It is the ability to continue when continuation seems pointless. It is the discipline to maintain effort when effort appears wasted. It is the faith to believe in processes that cannot yet be measured. Most people work in bursts. They attack their goals with enthusiasm for days or weeks, then fade when the initial excitement wears off. They mistake motivation for commitment, inspiration for discipline, pretty discipline. But true progress is not built on feelings. It is built on systems, on consistency, on the unwavering decision to continue, regardless of how you feel in any given moment. The world rewards those who understand this principle. It elevates those who can endure the invisible phase, the period when seeds are germinating, when foundations are being poured, when skills are being forged in the darkness of repetition. These individuals know that what matters is not what others can see, but what is being built within them through the urgency, instant determined effort. When you commit to consistency, you enter into a contract with time itself. You agree to trust that your efforts are accumulating even when evidence suggests otherwise. You choose to believe that every small action is adding to a sum that will eventually become impossible to ignore. This is not naive optimism. This is the wisdom of those who understand how real achievement actually works. The greatest achievements in history were not born from sporadic bursts of effort, but from sustained, relentless consistency. The master did not become masterful through occasional practice, but through daily dedication to improvement. The leader did not develop wisdom through random insights, but through years of discipline, study, and application. The champion did not win through talent alone, but through countless hours of preparation that no one witnessed. You must train yourself to find satisfaction not in results, but in process, not in outcomes, but in effort, not in recognition, but in the knowledge that you are building something significant through your daily commitment to consistency. When you can derive fulfillment from the work itself rather than its immediate rewards, you become unstoppable. You remove the conditions that cause most people to quit. You transcend the need for external validation and immediate gratification. 2. The power of relentless persistence. Persistence is not stubbornness. It is not blindly continuing down a path that leads nowhere. True persistence is the intelligent application of sustained effort toward a worthy goal, regardless of immediate feedback. It is the understanding that meaningful results require time to manifest, and that most people quit precisely when they are closest to breakthrough. Imagine a person striking a massive boulder with a hammer. The first strike creates no visible crack. The second, third, and 100th strikes show no apparent progress. To observers, the effort appears futile. The person looks foolish, wasting energy on an impossible task. But what they cannot see is that every strike is creating microscopic fractures within the stone. Each impact is weakening the internal structure, preparing for the moment when one final strike will split the boulder completely. This is the reality of all significant achievement. The breakthrough moment, the visible success that everyone celebrates, is merely the culmination of countless invisible efforts that preceded it. The final strike that splits the boulder is no more important than the first 99. Without each preceding blow, the final one would be meaningless. Yet most people judge success by the final strike alone, missing the persistent effort that made it possible. Consider the nature of water wearing away stone. Drop by drop, seemingly insignificant amounts of water can carve through solid rock, creating magnificent canyons over time. No single drop claims credit for the canyon. No individual impact appears to matter. Yet the collective effect of persistent, consistent pressure creates wonders that seem impossible when viewed from the perspective of any single moment. Your efforts are like these drops of water. Each day of consistent action may seem meaningless in isolation. Each hour of practice, each moment of discipline, each small step forward, none of these appear significant when measured against your ultimate goals. But together, accumulated over time through unwavering persistence, they become an irresistible force capable of reshaping your entire reality. Most people dramatically underestimate the time required for meaningful change. They expect linear progress, steady, visible improvement that corresponds directly to effort invested. But real progress is more often exponential. Long periods of apparent stagnation are followed by sudden, dramatic leaps forward. The key is maintaining effort through the plateau periods, trusting that accumulation is occurring even when advancement is invisible. Think of a bamboo plant. For its first 4 years, bamboo shows virtually no growth above ground. A person might water it daily, tend to it carefully, and see nothing but a tiny sprout that barely changes month after month. Most would abandon it, concluding that their care was wasted. But in the 5th year, bamboo can grow up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. The previous 4 years were not periods of no growth. They were periods of root development, of building the foundation necessary to support explosive expansion. Your persistence during apparently fruitless periods is building the root system of your future success. Every day you continue when progress seems absent. You are developing the character, the skills, the mindset necessary to sustain success when it finally arrives. Persistence also builds something else crucial to long-term achievement: resilience. Each day you choose to continue despite lack of visible progress, you prove to yourself that you are capable of sustained effort. You demonstrate that your commitment is not dependent on immediate rewards. You develop the mental toughness necessary to weather the inevitable storms that accompany any worthwhile pursuit. The world is filled with talented people who quit too early, with brilliant minds that abandon great ideas just before they would have succeeded, with capable individuals who stopped trying precisely when their efforts were about to bear fruit. What separated them from those who ultimately succeeded was not ability, not resources, not opportunity. It was the willingness to persist when persistence seemed pointless. When you develop true persistence, you join a rare group of individuals who understand a secret that eludes most people. Sustained effort applied consistently over time is more powerful than any other force in shaping reality. Genius without persistence produces nothing. Talent without persistence remains potential. Resources without persistence lie unused, but persistence, even with modest abilities and limited resources, can accomplish what seems impossible to those who lack it. 3. Building unshakable faith in the process. Faith in the process is not blind belief. It is educated trust based on understanding how achievement actually works. It is the confidence that consistent effort applied intelligently over time will produce results even when those results are not immediately visible. This faith becomes your anchor during the inevitable periods when doubt creeps in and progress seems non existent. Most people lose faith because they misunderstand the nature of progress. They expect it to be immediate, linear, and constantly visible. When reality fails to meet these expectations, they conclude that their efforts are inefficient, effective. But progress rarely follows the neat, predictable patterns we imagine. Instead, it moves in waves, in cycles, in complex rhythms that often involve apparent setbacks before major advances. Consider how a muscle grows. When you train intensively, your muscles don't immediately become larger and stronger. In fact, the training process actually breaks down muscle fibers, creating microscopic damage. To the untrained observer, this might seem counterproductive. You're literally damaging the very thing you're trying to improve. But the body's response to this controlled damage is to rebuild the muscles stronger than before, adapted to handle the stress that was applied. This process takes time. The breakdown happens during training, but the rebuilding occurs during rest, often over days or weeks. If you judged your progress immediately after each workout, you might conclude that training is harmful rather than beneficial. Only by trusting the process and maintaining consistency over extended periods can you see the transformation that occurs. Your personal development follows similar patterns. The challenges you face, the difficulties you encounter, the moments when you feel like you're moving backward, these are not signs that your efforts are failing. They are signs that you are breaking down old patterns, old limitations, old ways of being that no longer serve you. The discomfort you feel is the process of growth, not evidence of failure. Faith in the process requires understanding that setbacks are not deviations from the path. They are part of the path. Every master craftsman makes countless mistakes while learning. Every successful entrepreneur faces numerous failures before breakthrough. Every champion experiences defeats that teach crucial lessons. These apparent reversals are not obstacles to success, they're experiences that create success. When you develop unshakable faith in your process, you stop judging your efforts by short term outcomes. You begin to see each day's work as an investment in a future that may not be visible yet, but is absolutely certain to arrive. You understand that consistency compounds, that small actions accumulate into massive results, that persistence always pays dividends, even when the timeline is longer than expected. This faith transforms your relationship with difficulty. Instead of viewing challenges as reasons to quit, you see them as opportunities to strengthen your commitment. Instead of interpreting slow progress as failure, you recognize it as the natural rhythm of meaningful achievement. Instead of needing immediate validation, you find satisfaction in the knowledge that you're building something significant through daily dedication. True faith in the process also requires releasing attachment to specific timelines. You may have goals with deadlines, targets with dates, dreams with expected arrival times. But faith means continuing your efforts even when results don't appear according to your preferred schedule. It means understanding that the timeline is less important than the trajectory, that consistency matters more than speed. Think of a river flowing toward the ocean. The river doesn't stop flowing because it hasn't reached its destination by a certain date. It doesn't change direction because the path takes longer than expected. It simply continues flowing, confident that persistence will eventually carry it to where it belongs. Obstacles redirect it, but they don't stop it. Delays slow it, but they don't defeat it. Your faith in the process must be equally unwavering. You must become like that river, persistent in direction, flexible in method, patient with timing, but absolutely committed to reaching your destination, regardless of how long the journey requires. When you build this level of faith, something remarkable happens. You stop needing external proof that you're on the right path. You stop requiring validation from others to continue your efforts. You develop an internal compass that guides you through periods of uncertainty, an inner strength that sustains you when outer circumstances provide no encouragement. 4. The discipline of daily progress. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. The discipline to take consistent daily action toward your goals frees you from the chaos of sporadic effort, from the anxiety of uncertain progress, from the frustration of unrealized potential. When you develop the discipline of daily progress, you create a life of predictable advancement rather than random achievement. Most people mistake discipline for restriction, viewing it as something that limits their choices and constrains their freedom. But this perspective reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what discipline actually provides. True discipline is the tool that gives you control over your future, that transforms vague hopes into concrete realities, that bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Consider a musician learning a complex piece. Without discipline, they might practice sporadically, intensively for a few days when motivation is high, then not at all for weeks when other priorities intervene. This approach leads to frustration as skills that were developing regress during periods of neglect. Progress becomes a constant cycle of advancement and deterioration, with no clear trajectory toward mastery. But with discipline, the musician practices daily. Even if only for short periods, each day's practice builds upon the previous day's work. Muscle memory develops gradually but steadily. Complex passages that seemed impossible become manageable through repetition. The piece that once appeared overwhelming becomes achievable through consistent daily effort. The discipline of daily progress operates on the principle of compound improvement. Just as money invested consistently compounds into substantial wealth over time, small daily improvements compound into extraordinary results. The key is understanding that the compounding effect is not immediately visible. It builds slowly at first, then accelerates dramatically as time progresses. This is why most people fail to develop discipline. They focus on the initial phase when daily efforts produce barely noticeable improvements, rather than understanding that they are building momentum for future acceleration. They judge the value of discipline by its immediate returns rather than its long-term compounding effects. Daily discipline also creates psychological momentum. When you honor your commitment to daily progress, you prove to yourself that you are capable of keeping promises to yourself. This builds self-trust, which is the foundation of all personal power. Each day you follow through on your commitments. You strengthen your belief in your own reliability, your confidence in your ability to achieve what you set out to accomplish. The absence of daily discipline creates the opposite effect. When you frequently break promises to yourself, when you regularly abandon your planned actions in favor of immediate comfort or convenience, you erode your self-trust. You begin to doubt your own reliability, to question your ability to follow through on commitments, to lose confidence in your capacity for achievement. Establishing daily discipline requires starting smaller than you think necessary. Most people attempt to implement dramatic changes that are impossible to sustain, then use their inevitable failures as evidence that they lack discipline. But discipline is a skill that must be developed gradually, like physical strength that is built through progressive training. Begin with actions so small that they seem trivial. If your goal is to write a book, commit to writing one sentence daily. If you want to become physically fit, commit to doing one push-up daily. If you aim to master a skill, commit to practicing for just 5 minutes daily. These commitments may seem insignificant, but they serve a crucial purpose. They establish the habit of daily action without overwhelming your current capacity for discipline. Once you have maintained these small commitments consistently for several weeks, you can gradually increase their intensity. The person who writes one sentence daily will naturally want to write more. The individual who does one push-up will find it easy to do 5, then 10, then more. The skilled practitioner will extend their 5-minute sessions as their interest and capacity grow. The crucial element is maintaining the daily commitment regardless of external circumstances. Whether you feel motivated or not, whether you have ample time or are rushed, whether you're experiencing success or facing setbacks, you honor your commitment to daily progress. This consistency, maintained over months and years, creates transformational results that seem miraculous to those who don't understand the power of compound discipline. Daily discipline also provides clarity during difficult periods. When you're unsure about your direction, when you're discouraged by slow progress, when you're tempted to abandon your goals, your daily discipline becomes your guide. Instead of making decisions based on temporary emotions or circumstances, you simply continue your established routine of daily progress. This consistency carries you through periods of uncertainty until clarity returns. 5. Mastering the art of delayed gratification. In a world that promises instant everything, the ability to delay gratification becomes a superpower. It separates those who achieve lasting success from those who remain trapped in cycles of temporary pleasure, followed by long term dissatisfaction. When you master delayed gratification, you gain access to rewards that are permanently out of reach for those who must have everything immediately. Delayed gratification is not about denying yourself pleasure, it is about choosing better pleasures that require patience to obtain. It is the recognition that the most satisfying rewards come to those willing to wait for them, to work for them, to sacrifice immediate comfort in exchange for lasting fulfillment. Think of two paths through a forest. The first path is wide, smooth, and comfortable to walk. It provides immediate ease, but leads to an ordinary destination. The second path is narrow, rocky, and challenging. It demands effort and endurance, but leads to a magnificent vista that can only be reached by those willing to make the difficult journey.